Thanks for joining us. This is Business Incorporated on Channels Television. I am Bisi Adebayo. On the program today, South African lender Nedbank declares 26% jump in half-year profits, and Tanzania announces plan to build a pipeline to pump natural gas to neighboring Uganda. Plus, Burkina Faso looks up to China to fund some key infrastructure projects. Well, we hit the markets right away, and we're starting from home here in Nigeria, where the all-share index is in the red at midday. And in South Africa, the index is trending higher at intraday with 1.4%. Egypt was also 0.51% higher at lunchtime. In Kenya, the market closed down 0.24% on Monday. And in the Middle East, all indices are looking good at intraday, except the Dubai index, which is close to 1% in the south. The Abu Dhabi index is the highest gain at intraday with a 0.57% jump. In Qatar, the index was 0.41% positive, while the Saudi Arabian index was up 0.03%. And European stocks were higher this morning as investors monitored simmering global trade tensions and the latest batch of corporate earnings. Conrad Bussen is standing by at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange to tell us what else is happening at the European markets today. Hello, Conrad. It's good to see you. Now, let's begin with the U.S. renewal of some sanctions against Iran, with blocking dollar and gold purchases being the latest in geopolitical crossfires. Take this to the market street for us.
Hello, BC. Good to be back. Well, of course, people in the financial world here in Frankfurt and, of course, people in business in Europe are weighing the options at the moment. On the one hand, you have the American president who says that whoever in the future will do business with Iran will not do business with the United States. And on the other hand, we have the European Union politicians who want to convince business people that they should keep their relations with Iran intact. Which is easier said than done, because in the past it's been proven very often that the American sanctions have a huge extraterritorial reach. You know, if a German company decides to stay in business with an Iranian company, it would risk, for example, to be completely shut off the American financial system. And, of course, as business with Iran is minuscule, it is really, really small compared to the business that many German companies have with America, then, of course, this German company would not risk to meddle with the Americans and to get in trouble with the Americans. The last company to report to rather obey the American sanctions is Daimler. Daimler today said that it has ceased its activities in Iran. It had planned to open representation in Tehran, but it has at least postponed those plans. An immediate effect in terms of prices of the sanctions today can be seen in the oil price. The price for the barrel of crude oil from the North Sea, the Brent crude, has gained another, more or less another %. The barrel is traded at nearly $75 a barrel again.
Now, aside geopolitics, what else is driving the European trading day with earnings such as the ones coming from UniCredit and Commerzbank on hand?
Well, those two banks have really reported important earnings reports, important for the European markets, because both reports prove that at least some of the, economic strength that has returned to the Eurozone is also finally arriving in the balance sheets of the banks. UniCredit managed to beat analysts' expectations with its earnings report, mostly thanks to lower write-downs on loans and provisions, and also thanks to lower costs. The shares in UniCredit today are among the bigger gainers today here in European trading. Here in Germany, Commerzbank, which is still in part owned by the German state, you might remember that Commerzbank had to be saved by the German taxpayer after the financial crisis. Commerzbank is finally able to pay its investors a small dividend again, and it also reported an increase in revenue, especially thanks to an increase in retail business. We also got a couple of smaller earnings reports here in Germany, for example, from Zalando, which is a large online retailer for fashion goods, clothes, shoes and stuff like that. You can buy it on Zalando. It's an important player in that sector here in Germany. Zalando says that people are selling and buying more on this platform, but they are paying lower prices. And that is, of course, a way on revenue. And as you know, revenue is the most important number for online companies in general, and especially online retailers. And that's why Zalando's share price is a big loser today. It's down around about 4%.
Now, just before you go, Conrad, tell us, could Facebook be treading on dangerous grounds again, as Wall Street Journal reports that the social media giant has asked several banks for customers' financial information?
Well, dangerous grounds, yes, at least in terms of image. If you look at internet portals and internet forums where people are discussing this story that Facebook has contacted banks in order to gain access to the banking data of bank clients, then you will find a lot of people appalled at the idea of sharing their data, their banking data, their credit card bookings, and also their checking account levels with a company like Facebook. That's not exactly having a reputation of being very trustworthy when it comes to data. But investors' reactions to the news are quite positive. The share of Facebook has gained nicely thanks to the news. And from the perspective of this company, of course, it makes sense. Facebook recently has talked about how much it is seeking opportunities to increase traffic on its platforms. And of course, as all of the tech companies, Facebook is aiming at payment possibilities. And the banks, on the other hand, of course, as you pointed out, they sort of are walking a fine line as data is so sensitive. But the banks also are trying desperately to find access to new customers, younger customers who are used to use their mobile devices for everything on an everyday level. Where do you reach them? Well, via the social media platform. So it's a logical step for the banks to get together with Facebook too.
Well, thank you, Conrad, for those updates, and do enjoy the rest of your day.